What is going on, Trash Talkers? We're back with another episode for you. In today's video, we're going to recap everything big from Week 7 in the NFL. All that and much more coming your way right now! Hey Trash Talkers, over 85% of you are still not subscribed to the channel. Please be sure to hit that red subscribe button and turn on notifications, as it will help us create more daily content for you. Thank you and enjoy today's video. All right, Nick, Week 7 was a wild weekend with an average score of victory of 21 points. We saw a lot of massive blowouts this weekend, and obviously still more to come tonight with Monday Night Football, but we had some incredible games that I needed to really just speak about. And one I think that's in everybody's mind right now is the demolition that is happening in Kansas City. The Tennessee Titans running roughshod over the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Chiefs just do not look like the team that we've seen the last couple of years. What did you see from the Chiefs that made them perform so poorly?
Yeah, it really came from every which direction on this team. When you look at the offense, Patrick Mahomes can't get going because the offensive line that they completely rebuilt and was supposed to protect him is looking exactly like they did back in the Super Bowl. I just don't understand what's going on there. And then you got the receivers who aren't able to get separation. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. These guys are getting locked up, and there really is nobody else. They really need to figure out if they can get a wide receiver too to step up their game. But right now, there is nobody for Patrick Mahomes to work with. Plus, now he's dealing with his own injury. He's in the concussion protocol. Looks like he might be safe from that one. But this is not a good look right now. That defense, Steve Spagnuolo's got to get it under control. They cannot stop anything. They clearly sold out and were stopping Derrick Henry. You know, he averaged 3 yards a carry on 29 carries. But you got to be able to stop these receivers as well. A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, they didn't have spectacular games, but I mean, these two were definitely able to put up enough points. And the Tennessee Titans as a whole just look like on a whole other level than the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs just do not look like themselves right now.
I will correct you on this. A.J. Brown had a pretty solid day, 8 catches, 133, and a touchdown. I mean, that's a really good line for A.J. Brown.
Oh, yeah.
Julio, I agree as well, though. Two catches, 38. This is the most telling sign to me, though. Patrick Mahomes, 20 of 35, which is not like him, 206 yards and an interception. Not a single touchdown was to be had by Patrick Mahomes. In fact, he also led his team in rushing yards. That's right. Patrick Mahomes led the Chiefs in rushing yards. Without Clyde Edwards-Helaire, they have gone absolutely away from the run completely. They don't even have the threat of the run right now, and the defenses are selling out for the pass. They are double, triple covering Tyreek Hill. They are keeping somebody over the top every single play. They're making Patrick Mahomes have to dink and dunk the ball all the way down the field, and that's not who he is. That's not who Eric Bieniemy is. They want to have this huge play, whether it's a pass interference or a big catch down the field. They want that big play ability, and they're not giving what the defense gives them, and they're not taking that from them. In fact, we see Byron Pringle was the leading receiver for the Chiefs. 5 catches, 73 yards. This is unacceptable from the Kansas City Chiefs. And listen, I have said it time in and time out so far this year. The Kansas City Chiefs are not the same team that went to the Super Bowl last year. This offensive line is atrocious, even though they spent so much money and draft assets trying to get the pieces around it. I think that we really have to start and take note and take stock of the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs are just not a good football team right now. They got away with so much when it came to their athletic ability. Patrick Mahomes making incredible throws to Tyreek Hill because nobody was respecting his speed. Travis Kelce always left open in the middle of the field. That's not the case anymore. They're taking away Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, and now these guys are gone, and this offense has just gone with it. There's no answer for the reason that these guys are gone. All right. That's enough of us hating on the Chiefs a little bit. Obviously, the Titans played well, and they deserve all the credit in the world. 27-3 victory is not something that you can make light of. So congratulations to the Titans. But another huge victory that we saw this weekend was the Cincinnati Bengals showing the Baltimore Ravens why they deserve to be the number one team in the AFC North. The Cincinnati Bengals sit atop the division right now at 5-2 with the same record as the Ravens after beating them 41-17. We saw Joe Burrow go 23 of 38 for 416 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception. Jamar Chase having one of the best rookie receiving days of the NFL. 8 catches, 201 yards, and a touchdown. Joe Mixon adding 12 carries, 59 yards, and Samaje Perine, 11 carries, 52 yards. So almost even there, both with a rushing touchdown. Nick, this is such a potent Bengals offense. Is this something that they can sustain moving forward?
I think it's 100% something they can sustain going forward because of how well the defense is playing. And when you look at them, they're not the biggest names in the NFL, but they got DJ Reader a couple of years ago. Then they added Larry Ogunjobi and Trey Hendrickson. Sam Hubbard has really come into his own this season. Jesse Bates in the secondary is a huge piece. There are so many of these guys that they have finally put together that are playing for each other. They're playing at such a high level, and this is something that no one saw coming, but we all love to see it. You know, it's a lot of homegrown talent for the Cincinnati Bengals, not something that comes around all too much nowadays, but the Cincinnati Bengals are making it work. This team is really playing strong together, and I don't think that this is just a fluke. I believe that they're here to stay.
Listen, I was not high on the Bengals, and even up until this point, I have been very skeptical, but I have to say, I'm a believer. I mean, when we're seeing Joe Burrow throw for 400 yards, Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine really working well off of each other, Jamar Chase having yet another spectacular day. I thought this Ravens defense, especially the secondary, was going to smother the Cincinnati Bengals. I thought Jamar Chase was going to be held in check for the first time this season. I really thought that the Bengals were going to show us why they are the Bungles, but we didn't see it. In fact, they are showing us that they may have turned the page in their franchise, and I'm excited to see it. The Baltimore Ravens have to take notice, though, because Lamar Jackson, not a terrible day, 15 of 31, the poor completion percentage, but he had a better passing day than Patrick Mahomes, 257 yards, a touchdown, and he led the team in rushing, 12 carries, 88 yards. Not terrible stats when you look at everything that's going on. Marquise Brown, Rashad Bateman getting back involved in this offense. A lot of good things, but they just could not keep up with the Cincinnati Bengals, and all of a sudden they were playing from behind, and this is not a Ravens team that can play from behind. They are built to run the ball, play pace down. They have to play their style of football, and if you force them to play a different style, they just forget what sport they're playing and have to just do something else. So there's a lot of issues here with this Baltimore Ravens team. I know that they're 5-2, and to say that they have a lot of issues is really just picking at strings here. But at the end of the day, this is the difference between winning the division and getting a wild card spot. And the Baltimore Ravens have to fix their issues if they don't want to be in a wild card position. Next up, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers blowing out the Chicago Bears in what looked to be just an absolute domination from the get-go. The first offensive play for the Bears turned into a fumble. Justin Fields struggled all day. 22 of 32, 184, and 3 interceptions, no touchdowns. Nick, is there any hope for the Bears right now with what you saw from Justin Fields, what you saw from this offense? Is there anything that can hang their hat on?
Oh, absolutely not. No, the Chicago Bears are just headed in the absolute wrong direction. They've had some decent wins so far this season, putting up a decent record so far, but Matt Nagy is going to do Matt Nagy things, and the Chicago Bears are going to absolutely crumble when they play elite talent. They played the Packers last week, and that was a little bit closer than we expected for the majority of the game, but the Packers easily came out on top, and then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers saw what the Packers did and then just took advantage of it. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with their offensive weapons, doesn't matter if Rob Gronkowski's not there, Antonio Brown, they've got Leonard Fournette and Mike Evans Ravens, Chris Godwin. Tom Brady has just broken 600 touchdowns in his career, the only player in NFL history to do that. And when you have these weapons, there is absolutely no shot that the Chicago Bears are going to have a chance. And the Chicago Bears have such a long way to go if they're ever going to compete in the NFC, because they facing the top guys and they just absolutely cannot stand with them at all. There's nothing that gives me a glimmer of hope for the Chicago Bears that says this is a team that can compete. Justin Fields has a lot of work to do, a lot of work ahead of him to get better. The wide receiver weapons have to get better. Allen Robinson, Darnell Mooney, these guys made too many mistakes in this big of a game. And the Chicago Bears, look, they always seem to squeak into that wild card every single year, but this is going to be the year where they absolutely get exposed. Their record is not going to be good, and I think it's time that we start looking at the coaches and saying, you need to change.
Yeah, I mean, the Chicago Bears obviously struggling, but the Buccaneers, Tom Brady, 20 of 36, 211 yards, so a small performance yardage-wise, but 4 touchdowns, 3 of which going to Mike Evans, another one going to Chris Godwin. Leonard Fournette, 15 carries, 81 yards. The Buccaneers played very efficient football today and really did a great job with them. So overall, the Buccaneers are 6-1. They're loving their life right now. Just a game behind the 7-0 Arizona Cardinals, but nonetheless, Buccaneers, look out. And then finally, we have the Eagles and the Raiders. This was an interesting one because this was one of the closer matchups. The Raiders winning 33-22. But the biggest note here is that the Las Vegas Raiders now sit at 5-2 and have taken over the AFC West division. This is not something that if you told me John Gruden got fired 2 weeks later, they are leading the division, I would have said, you don't know football, stop talking to me. But this is where we are. John Gruden has been fired, and we have seen Rich Bisaccia really take ownership of this team. The offense is much improved. We've seen the utilization of Josh Jacobs when he's playing. In the passing game, we have seen Kenyon Drake really get a big workload. We've seen this offense become more dynamic. Henry Ruggs isn't just running 20, 30 yards down the field and hoping he catches a ball. Bryan Edwards is coming across the middle. This was all without Darren Waller. This offense with Foster Moreau at tight end was absolutely dynamic. It was incredible to watch, and the Raiders really put on a show. Granted, against the 2-5 Philadelphia Eagles, but nonetheless, you can only play the competition in front of you, and they were able to not only play that competition, but come out dominant on top.
Yeah, this is, something that I completely expected for the Las Vegas Raiders. I did not like this team under John Gruden. I thought that he just held them back. He didn't have high expectations for them, and so they weren't trying at their best. Now with him gone, it sounds bad to say, but they're a bunch of foster children that are just there. They're banding together, and that's exactly what you want from your team. They're all coming together, playing for each other. As long as they continue to do that, they're going to be so hard to beat, because physical will, playing for your respect, is harder to come by. A lot of players just play because they love the game, but when you have a lot of respect behind it, and you're playing for your pride, that just makes you 10 times better, a lot more competitive. And I think the Las Vegas Raiders right now are, they're sitting atop the AFC as the number 2 team, but I believe that they might just be the best team in the AFC right now. If they could take on the Titans, they could take on the Bills, and I believe that they would come out on top because they are playing so well together right now, so much for each other, that I just don't think there's anything that can get in the way of it.
I mean, we saw the Raiders really come out and fire on all cylinders. Obviously, struggled in the first quarter, but calmed down a little bit. Scored 17 in the second, 13 in the third quarter. I mean, they really just dominated this game. My question and concern so far right now is that Josh Jacobs, left with an injury, did not return. He's such a big part of this offense, yet they still have Kenyon Drake. I don't know if that's going to inhibit them from being able to win some of these games. What do you think about Josh Jacobs and possibly missing some time?
Yeah, this is going to be unfortunate, but when you look at Kenyon Drake and Peyton Barber, these are guys that you've seen have big games this year. You know that they can carry the load, and they're dynamic players who can help out in the receiving game as well. So I'm not worried long term for the Las Vegas Raiders offense. They're going to continue to be super dynamic, especially if Darren Waller is able to come back fairly soon. Josh Jacobs is a great player, and he is the best running back they have, but I believe that they can get great production with the running backs that they have.
Yeah, I mean, an offense that I am worried about, though, is the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts, 18 of 34, 236, and 2 touchdowns, sorry. Boston Scott had their lone rushing touchdown. Miles Sanders also carted out of this game. Not good for him. Jalen Hurts actually led the team in rushing, 13 carries, 61 yards. This man cannot keep running for his life while also trying to command an offense. It's just simply not possible. Dallas Goedert, the leading receiver on the team with 3 catches, 70 yards. Devonta Smith, 5 catches, 61. Kenneth Gainwell actually entering the top 3 with 4 for 41 and a touchdown. We saw what the Bears obviously went through against Tampa Bay. The Eagles put up more points, but is there any hope for Eagles fans and kind of what they're seeing? Is there something that they can hang their hat on and say, okay, I know this didn't look good, but I like this, and I think we can use this to move forward?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm getting any good vibes right now from the Philadelphia Eagles. You have some bright spots with Devonta Smith having some nice plays and then Quez Watkins having some nice games. But I think as a unit, these guys are just not playing very cohesively. They're not playing with a lot of chemistry, and that's what they're missing. You don't always have to have the best players, but as long as you play together, you're going to put out a better product, and I just don't see that happening. I think Nick Sirianni's got to do something to get this band back together. It just seems like it's a bunch of individuals playing together, and that's not what you want at this high level of play.
No, I agree. I agree 100%. I think the Eagles have to definitely figure themselves out before they can continue. The Dallas Cowboys are the class of the NFC East right now, and the Eagles are nowhere near where the Dallas Cowboys are. In fact, I think the Eagles would struggle with the Giants right about now, kind of like the Panthers did. But nonetheless, I think that there's a lot more that has to unfold. Obviously, the season is still young. We haven't reached the halfway point yet, haven't even reached the trade deadline, so still a lot of things to happen. I'll be interested to see where the Eagles stand come about halfway point of the season, and if they're still in contention for possible playoff spot, wild card position, so on and so forth. But before we go, Nick, we have the Seattle Seahawks taking on the New Orleans Saints in Seattle tonight. Who do you have winning?
Yeah, the New Orleans Saints should have a very easy time with the 2-4 Seattle Seahawks. Under Geno Smith, this is going to be an absolute mess of an offense, and I just think that the New Orleans Saints getting some weapons back. Jameis Winston is ready to have a big game. I'm all about New Orleans in this one.
New Orleans coming off a bye, going into Seattle, facing off Geno Smith and Alex Collins. Yeah, I'll take the New Orleans Saints for sure. So, all right, 2 on the New Orleans Saints. Let us know in the comments down below who you have winning tonight and what you liked most about Week 7 in the NFL. All right, well, that's going to be all for now. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.